Se is probably one of the hardest things and most confusing things about Spanish. In fact, they've written books that are like this thick on this one word. So let me go ahead and say that native speakers don't even understand this word. Nobody does, not even the authors of those crazy books. So you're not alone if you're confused by this. What you need to know, though, are the situations that will trigger the word se. All right, and that's what we're going to go over in this video. So after this video, you should know the most common situations where it'll be triggered, and hopefully this gives you a better understanding of what it is. Give a like if you enjoy this video and if you like this content and want more of it. Let's get into it. So we've got the word se. Now, se can have a lot of different meanings in Spanish. That's the first thing. Now, I want to start with one of the common uses, which is when we use it with reflexive verbs. All right, reflexive verbs are things that you do to yourself. I like to call them mirror verbs because you're mirroring the action. You're doing it to yourself. Let me give you an example. Basically, to form a reflexive verb, you put one of these in front of the verb. So this is for yo, like I do something. This is for you. This is for third person. And then nos is for us. There's also vos for the vosotros form if you're interested in the Spanish from Spain, but we're not going to worry about that. Just more to add to this video. There's no point of doing that. Now, se, like I said, me is for me, te is for you, nos is for us. Se is for anything in the third person. This means he, she, it, someone's name, or you all, or them. Okay, so we've got him, her, it, you all, and them, basically, and usted if you're going to use the formal language to say you. What does this mean? All right, let me give you an example. The verb cansar means to tire. That's where cansado comes from. If you want to say estoy cansado, that means I am tired. So cansar is the actual action of tiring something or someone. So if I were to say cansé al perro, right? This means I tired the dog out, or I tired to the dog is like the literal word for word translation. But if I were to say the dog got tired, meaning the dog tired itself out, essentially, it now becomes reflexive. So cansar is to tire, and cansarse, we add the se to an unconjugated verb basically to just show you that, hey, this is a reflexive verb. This is what we're doing with it now. It would mean to get tired. So to say the dog got tired in the past tense, it would be se cansó. And it's se because it's reflexive, it's third person, and we're talking about him, in this case, the dog. Him or her or it, whatever you want to say. So that's a use of se when we use it with reflexive verbs. I'll do one more example of this. Preocupar means to worry. Preocuparse means to get worried, basically when you worry yourself. So if I were to say you were worrying me, it would be, and don't worry if you're not like, if this seems a little bit advanced, okay, this isn't supposed to be some sort of advanced, I'm not worried about what your level of Spanish is, basically. You could be a beginner, an intermediate, or an advanced learner. What I want you to do is just get the feel for what this word say means. So if you're a beginner, when it comes up, you're not freaking out. And if you're already advanced, you should be able to understand a lot of this. So it's for all levels, this video. So you were worrying me would be, me estabas preocupando. So what's going on in this sentence? Well, I'm saying you were worrying to me, right? Now, if I were to say you were getting worried, or basically you were worrying yourself, it would be te estabas preocupando. And there's a difference. That's why the phrase don't worry translates to no te preocupes. Can't write preocupes. There we go. Don't worry is no te preocupes. So it's literally saying you worry to you, like don't worry yourself, basically. Now you can worry someone else. In this case, you would not use se, you would not use me, te, or nos. You would use just without making it not reflexive. Now let's do one example with preocupar with se. This would be for third persons. If I were to say they got worried when you did not arrive on time, this would be se preocuparon cuando no llegaste a tiempo. They got worried. So they worried themselves. They got worried. There's also an instance where we use say with indirect and direct objects. Specifically with indirect and direct objects and both together in the same sentence. What is an indirect or direct object? It's basically the word it, him, me. It's whoever is receiving the action of a sentence. If I say te amo, this is I love you. Te is the direct object here because you are the direct recipient of me loving you. So I love is the action of me doing something to you. That's why it's not amo tú. If I were to say I bought him that, it would be le compré eso. So it's I bought to him that. And le here is an indirect object. It's indirect because there's something else going on. By the way, I have other videos on YouTube about the difference between lo, la, and le, basically indirect versus direct objects. So you can check that out on my YouTube channel. I made a really good, easy to understand explanation of that. I can't speak English, at least I can speak Spanish decent. Now, we use say, though, whenever we have two objects in the same sentence. So if I were to say, I bought it for him, so we've got two here. We've got him, and we've got it. And this would be se lo compré. So what we basically do here is I bought, let me actually draw this so you can see it. I bought, this action is compré, okay? It is replace it here for lo, and then the him is what we put before lo, just to simulate that, hey, this is for him. I bought it for him. There's two objects, so say just takes the place of him. Let me do one more example. Again, this is not meant for you to just understand it right away. It's just meant for you to get an understanding of, oh, when I see say in a sentence, I can understand more of what's going on now because, hey, it looks like that's probably in use of the word him, her, or it, or them. Again, if I were to say, he showed it to them. So basically when we have the word it and the word him, her, someone's name, them, you all, you're going to use say in that same sentence. So this would be él for he showed. I'm going to go ahead and put it like this. Él mostró. That is he showed. Okay, we don't need the él here. So this, what we need to do now is put those indirect and direct objects before the verb. So he showed it would be to them. So them is se, and then it is lo, or la if it's a feminine word. Se lo mostró. Hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. The last use is talking about things in general. So talking about things in general. This also can be replaced when you say one does something. So let me give an example of what that means. One eats late in this country. Another way of putting this is that, hey, you eat late in this country. Or in general, we eat late here. This would be se come tarde en este país. So what you basically do is you conjugate whatever the verb is. In this case, it's eats, eating. You put it in its form, come, and you put the word se before it to talk in general. Se come tarde en este país. If you were to ask, how does one do that? Basically, how is it done? How do you do that? You ask, ¿cómo se hace? This is super common in Spanish. So in English, we would probably just say, how do you do that? And you could say that. You can say, ¿cómo lo haces? Would be, how do you do that? But it's very common in Spanish to use this form where you just say, ¿cómo se hace? You're just saying in general, how is it done? How does one do that? ¿Cómo se hace? So whenever you want to use this form, and this could apply to different verbs, not just doing something. It could be, how do you cook that? ¿Cómo se cocina? How do you write that? ¿Cómo se escribe? If anyone asks, how do you spell that your name? ¿Cómo se escribe tu nombre? So all we're doing is we're just saying, how do you spell something in general? ¿Cómo se escribe? And then your name is tu nombre. It's pretty simple. That's why whenever if you've heard this before, and I'm sure you have, ¿cómo se dice? It's how do you say something in Spanish? ¿Cómo se dice that, this thing in Spanish? That's why, because you're using say to talk about things in general. Thank you so much for the video. Please like it if you enjoyed it. And if you're a serious Spanish learner, I invite you to my free training where I show you the 3 strategies that I used that allowed me to become fluent in Spanish within a year, and how you can do the same. It'll show you what to focus on, what not to focus on, how to practice and how not to practice Spanish in order to accelerate your Spanish learning and get you fluent within a year. If you imagine yourself having real conversations and speaking Spanish with native speakers just a couple of months from now and being able to understand what they say and communicate in every verb tense, etc., then this training is for you. Just click on the link in the description and you can save your spot for free right away. I hope to see you there, and please subscribe to the channel if you're a Spanish learner and want more videos from me. See you in the next one. Ciao.